All right, today I kind of want to talk about how free stuff, free services kind of messed up our expectation and our perception of things. Let me start with a recent example. So I have been using Google Gemini a lot for transcribing my videos, but also sometimes to kind of give me advice on not necessarily only stuff like cooking tips or like that, but also things in business where I kind of had an email, for example, from a client, and I was like, okay, how do I best say what I wanted to say? So using it as a tone checker, but also sometimes, okay, what would be a good approach in this case or in a legal battle? I don't understand these legal terminologies. Please explain this to me. And while I was mostly diligent of utilizing AI, obviously using AI also means giving away some of your privacy. But while I was diligent, it was still connected to my Google account, obviously. Google Gemini is a product of Google. Yes, I could have used a different email, but truth be told, I was a little bit lazy. It was working, so I tried it and I tried it and I tried it, and it kind of developed into me using that tool more than I anticipated in the beginning, and I found it very useful. Now, after a few weeks, and again, I know the risks of privacy when using these types of devices or services, and it is obviously also free. And when something is free, we are all obviously paying with our information or with watching advertisement, which we sometimes forget that is a high price to pay, but still consider what we're using for free, while it is obviously not. Now, after a few weeks or the last few weeks, there was this notifications where it says like, oh, okay, please be aware that from time to time, a human person looks at chats without knowing from who it is to check if Gemini gave you good replies and uses it to training. And while I already was aware of that possibility, I was really freaked out that they are now making it so obvious. It's like, okay, previously it was kind of hidden, and it was like a band-aid putting it on a big hole on a ship. But still, I wasn't that bothered. And I know it is kind of paradox, but that's just how the human mind works. And now they are just like, okay, we're very open about it, that someone will look at your chat history to see if Gemini is working correctly. And I am a little bit freaked out. Although, obviously, I did my due diligence. I just know I tone checked business stuff, and I checked for legal stuff. Because I'm still in a legal battle with this client that is not paying me. So I have an attorney, but every time I ask that attorney a question, I have to pay. So I obviously used Google Gemini for answering some of these questions that I just didn't understand. And now I do feel a little bit uncomfortable that someone looks that over. Again, it's not... It is in front of the court and everything is basically laid out. It still feels kind of icky that someone is looking at that without basically my knowledge or permission. So I was looking at alternatives, and more importantly, I thought, okay, when I pay, maybe it's easier to opt out of stuff and even use, obviously, when I get a new service that is not Google connected to my email, then I obviously will use a different email, and it will be a little bit harder to link to me and stuff like that. And then I saw the pricing. So I am looking now at an AI service, testing out the free model, but I already see that I reach limitations real fast. And as I said, if it's free, you're paying with your information. And I looked at it, and the pricing is 200 euros per year. Considering what it will do for me and how it helps me, I believe it's not that much money and it's totally worth it. But as I said in the beginning, this video is about how free stuff skews, S-K-E-W, your perception of things. And it's actually really terrible, because now I kind of want to move this to the different part, YouTube. And also me as a freelance film editor, but also back in the day when I did photography as a job, you stumble across so many comments that kind of showcase the wrong expectation of what you deserve and what you can get, because you potentially had that a similar service for free or cheaper. For example, with photography, that's a really good example. So when you get hired, for example, for wedding photography, there will be sometimes a client that will say, oh, why is that so expensive? My nephew has a DSLR, or my nephew has an iPhone. He makes great pictures. Why should I pay so much for you as wedding photographer? So that's example A, where your perception of what you're paying, although you probably, if you would do it yourself, would can charge the same. Or with video, I'm a film editor. I know how much I need to do and how much my rate is. There's the same thing where people will say something along the lines, oh, why is that so expensive? And that is why I always kind of break it down, what I need to do, and then tell them how many hours they are, and then make an example to an hourly rate of minimum wage or someone working at McDonald's. I used to work at McDonald's when I was younger, so I know. And then they're like, oh, okay, I get it now. Or on YouTube, when you are a creator, you potentially want to have a sponsorship, or want to start a Patreon. And people will be like, oh, why are you doing sponsorship for XY, or why are you now having a Patreon? And they believe that because they watched you all of the time for free, they feel like you are shilling out for doing a sponsorship or having a Patreon, totally neglecting all of the work that you put into the video, because they are used to, in air quotes, watch you for free. So without any sponsorships, without any monetization. I remember many years ago when nowadays YouTube puts ads in front of every video. Many years ago, they only put ads in front of the videos that had monetization on. And it used to be the case that people were like, why is there now an ad in front of your video? I don't want to watch an ad. And basically saying indirectly, I don't want to pay for watching you because I'm used to watch this for free. And yeah, again, I can kind of, now that I have used Gemini for free all of the time, I can kind of relate, obviously, because it feels, I don't know, it doesn't feel, but I am having a hard time to convince myself to pay those 200 euros per year for that other service, although I do know that it is totally worth it. And it's so interesting that in this economy where there are so many things for free, and again, it's not for free. You're paying with your information, or you're paying by watching the ads, yet we consider it free. It is so hard for creators, businesses, and I'm not kind of want to condone what some businesses are doing. Obviously, don't get me wrong. There are some businesses that have really weird tactics to get their money and to squeeze every single money out of a person. I don't like subscription, but that's just the world we're living in at the moment. And there are so many services where you can really see for example, BMW, where you're having seats that are heated, but you're paying a subscription to get heated seats. I think that is weird. That I don't like that at all. But for like software services and stuff like that, I kind of get it. To keep a company afloat, it's kind of important to have returning money. But yeah, again, I'm not here to kind of say what's right or wrong. I just see that in a world where so many things, so many services, especially coming from Google, are for free, it's hard to kind of jump onto a paid service, although in many cases it would be very important to do so. For example, an email client. I have been paying for an email client for years, and I haven't used a free email client. I have a Google account, but that is basically for YouTube, but I don't use it for email. I don't want my private and my business related email in a service that is for free, and then for them to easily use my information. Obviously, with a paid service, the risk is still there as well. But I feel like with a paid service, it's not hopefully that likely compared to a free service. So, long story short, and I'm talking to myself now a little bit as well to you, because I don't have a real solution. I just know, okay, I need that AI service in so many occasions where it actually is helping me, especially considering tone checking emails to clients, not necessarily privately or when it's not a big deal, but I did notice when it comes down to English, and especially when I need to potentially be careful about not offending another person, or be careful because it involves money or an agreement type of thing, then I use AI to tone check and to be very sure that everything that I'm saying in the email is correctly. So I always write down what I want to say and what is important to me, and then I give it to AI and then let it, okay, please tone check this, and please make sure that I cover my bases in this and this and this and this. And just for that alone, I feel like paying the money is justified. Not worth it, but justified. And things like, okay, transcribe me this and do chapter markers for this video. Stuff like that. Yes, obviously I could do that in a free tool, but and this is now from the perspective of value. I value that service and it helps so much in my workflow. So it should be worth to me paying, because if this would be a living person, a freelancer, I obviously would also, if I would be the freelancer, I want to get paid for doing that. So that's at the moment my reasoning for justifying paying for specific service. That being said, there are many things where I would say, oh, it would be better if not better, but it would be financially right or efficient if I just opt for either the free version or ad kind of supported version. For example, I'm paying for Amazon Prime and Netflix, although I just canceled Netflix. But whenever there is a cheaper monthly fee that is ad supported, I just go with that. Because with streaming service, at least at the moment, it's just one ad at the beginning. And then I'm totally okay with that. Paying less and having to watch this one ad. So there's always a balance point. I would say if you believe you don't want to pay with your information and with your privacy, first point, then maybe consider a paid service. B, if you think that what this service is doing for you is helping you regularly in a very efficient way, then also maybe consider paying. And especially if you think, okay, if this would be a human person and this person would do this for you, would you pay that person? Then I would say, yeah, maybe consider the paid service. But also, obviously, try to be as financially frugal or efficient as possible. Yeah, that was just my little train of thought that I had when kind of considering, should I pay for this or not? Let me know your comments in the comments below. What are your thoughts about this? And maybe if you want to see the video from yesterday, check it up here. YouTube thinks that you like the video down here. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking the button up here. That way we see each other in the next video. Thank you very much.